Good evening, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Faithful Dogs podcast, week 3 recap, and then we're going to preview Thursday Night Football here for you guys. I am Tyler Johnson. I am joined by Zach DeFranco, Jack Robinson. Gentlemen, how are we feeling this evening?
I need some more therapy.
Yeah, I need a lot of therapy.
Listen, I know I haven't, I don't know how my dad has done it for so long. I don't know how he's been a Browns fan for so long, but 25 years for me, 20 years of probably watching the team, but what we witnessed Sunday, and we're going to get into it. Oh my goodness.
It never gets easier. It always gets harder.
It doesn't. The beer always gets better though.
Oh God.
And before we get to our guest this evening, guys, just want to give you a reminder that you can subscribe to the channel for free with Amazon Prime. Jack has a crown right there on your screen that you can do with Amazon Prime. So just be sure to click that crown, and all that support goes to Network 216 and us being able to provide you with daily Ohio sports content. But also remember, it is September on Twitch, and so you can actually subscribe to the channel with 30% off. So be sure to do that. Again, we appreciate everyone's support. And Network 216 and the Faithful Dogs podcast is proud to be a sponsor of Underdog Fantasy. And guys, Thursday Night Football, it's coming up really quick, but you have an opportunity to go play Pick'em on Underdog. You can right now, you can bet on, is Nick Chubb going to have more than half a rushing touchdown, higher or lower? Is Kareem Hunt, how many fantasy points is he going to get? 10 fantasy points, higher or lower? Have some really fun prop bets that are available for you guys on Underdog Fantasy. Use code 216 to double your first deposit up to $100. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are joined by one of the best that covers the Browns for the Akron Beacon Journal, Chris Easterling. Chris, how are we doing this evening?
Doing great, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We need some therapy. It was a rough Sunday. I mean, I didn't even get to watch the game personally. I got to listen to it in the car. I was heading back from Tennessee. But Chris, in all the years that you've been a Browns fan, that you've covered the team, have you ever seen anything like what we witnessed on Sunday?
I'm 45 years old, so I even go back to the old days, back, the original franchise. So I've seen a lot of stuff, so to speak. Like that, you'd have to go, and it's been referenced, we've referenced it in stories, that 2001 Chicago game, where, that was a pretty good team. It's Butch's first year. They're up 2 scores late, and they lose in overtime. I can still remember listening to the end. I was like, oh, cool, I can go away from the television. I can go run to McDonald's, get something to eat. The Browns have this in the bag, and as I was getting my McDonald's bag, it all went away. But like that, no, there hasn't been too many like that. And considering, I think, the certain fragility of this season, especially early on in the season, you could rake it as the worst loss this team has suffered, at least since the franchise was reborn, because I think we all kind of looked at this schedule and said the first 4 games are all winnable. I mean, that's not a Big Ben Steeler team coming in. I mean, we didn't know at the beginning of the season that TJ Watt wasn't going to play, but you thought it's at home. It's Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett going to be the quarterback. Carolina, not going to get in the Baker Mayfield discussion, but, it's Carolina. I mean, it's not – you weren't playing the Bucks, who's the best team in that division. And then you have the Falcons. You're like, if you can get up to a 4-0 wasn't out of the realm of possibility.
No, not at all.
And I think if anybody asks, which is the one, if they go 3-1, which is the one they're going to lose, I would be willing to bet the Jets were, if you listen to 1 through 4, the Jets were the 4th option, and you lost that game. And I think the really tough part about it isn't just the way they lost. It's that you got a really good Jacoby Brissett game, and you wasted it. And that's what really kind of I mean, he was 16 of 17 at one point, and the one incompletion could have been a touchdown. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't think DPJ came down with that. I thought on read there was a side view where it looked like the ball he didn't control it to the ground, but by any stretch he was locked in on Sunday, and you let that get away. And I'm not saying you can't see that from Jacoby again, but when you do get it, it's like you just hold on to that like you got the golden ticket. And that's what, more than anything else, and about that game, what makes it sting if you're the Browns is your quarterback did exactly what you needed him to do to win a football game in the NFL, and you got the L, and you did it against a team that, look, I think the Jets have good talent. That receiving core, if we're taking Amari Cooper out of the equation and you're drafting the receiving core, you're taking those three receivers, Wilson, Moore, and Davis, 1, 2, 3, before you're taking any Cleveland Brown not named Amari Cooper. And so it's a talented young team. I'd like to see what they do as Zach Wilson gets back, but man, there were multiple times in the press box after the game where I looked up from my screen, I looked out on First Energy Stadium, and I just started laughing. I mean, because at this point, that's all you can. If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah, exactly.
I was.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say my experience was I was at my parents' house, because the game before the Panthers, we were all at Platform for our live show and everything, so I didn't get to watch. So I'm like, I get to go watch the first game with my dad, this year. So it's gonna be fun. Me and my girlfriend go over there. They scored that touchdown to just make it like a 1-possession game, and my girlfriend literally goes, "I'm going outside. We're gonna lose." I'm like, "Come on, there's no way, right? Like, there's absolutely no way." I'm like,
I got one better for you. I'm sitting next to my colleague Marla Ridenour from the Beacon Journal, and Cade York misses the extra point, and she goes, "They're going to lose now."
Oh my God, that's what my mom said too. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm like, and I wanted to dispute her. She's obviously seen a lot of Browns football over her career, and I'm like, you know what? I've seen a lot of Browns football over my lifetime, and yeah, you're probably right. And by God, it happened, and it's just it stinks. But I think you couldn't have gotten a short week, a quote unquote rivalry game, for whatever that means in today's NFL. I don't, I think rivalries are more fan based than player based now, with the players moving around and everything. But I think Thursday night can be a cathartic moment for this team, for this fan base, if they can use the last couple of days, flush that Jets game, and just go out there and win a game against a team that they've struggled with over the last couple of decades, and just get a satisfying division win. And I think we'll never forget last Sunday, but you'll feel better on Friday, much better on Friday. You'll end this week significantly better than you began it.
Yeah.
And Chris, a lot's already happened this week, and a lot of fans have kind of expressed concern when they heard that the players had a players-only meeting. I believe it was a couple of days ago. And what are your thoughts on having a meeting like that this early in the season? Because a lot of people associate that with, man, like it's time to freak out and whatnot, even though we're only 2 games through the season. So what are your thoughts when you saw people kind of freaking out over this early in the year?
I actually liked it. I think it's a sign that this team knows it's got to get on the same page, and it's got to get on the same page right now. It can't go out and see what happens on Thursday, where they could turn Mitch Trubisky into Terry Bradshaw, if they play again like they did the last 2 fourth quarters. I mean, they know this is a veteran defense, or at least an experienced defense. I don't know if veteran's the right word, but this defense has played a lot of football together over the last year plus. So I think it's a good sign. I think they know if we're not on the same page, we need to do it now. We can't let this linger. Let's air the grievances. Let's get on the same page and let's knock this crap off. Otherwise, the Steelers haven't thrown the ball downfield much. Half of Trubisky's throws are 10 yards or he's Charlie Checkdown right now in the passing game. But they got guys. I mean, they got dudes who, if it comes together for them, George Pickens I love George Pickens coming out of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson have both shown in their young careers what they're capable of. That's a receiving core that can, again, like the Jets receiving core, they can torch you if they're given opportunities to catch the football. And it wasn't just the breakdowns in the secondary. The Davis, I was looking at next gen stats on Monday, I think, and they were showing the catch rate, the radius, I forget exactly what the term is, but the league average was like 2.6 yards between defender and receiver. And all of the Jets receivers had more space. They were at least 3, which means it's not even on the the short and intermediate stuff. The coverage wasn't tight enough. You give a quarterback 3 yards of space between the defender and the receiver, especially one like Flacco, even one like Trubisky. They're gonna complete them. I mean, that's why they're in the league. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky isn't a bad quarterback. I think we've all remember him from Minner. I mean, he's not a great quarterback, but he can. I think part of his problem in Chicago, he had no talent around him.
Which is Justin Fields' struggle right now.
I mean, you look at. I mean, I think we so often judge the quarterbacks on sometimes unfairly, and I'm not some Mitch Trubisky truther or nothing, but at the same time, I think sometimes we're unfair on quarterbacks. Even a guy like Jacoby Brissett. What's he throwing to that's really established other than Amari? Nothing. I mean, but so it's good they got to steer this ocean liner back into port with this answer. I think it's good. And now, but it's one of those, okay. And I got this from fans, responding, Denzel Ward talked on Monday and I was tweeting some of the answers, some of his answers out. And he said something about get on the same page. And somebody said, we're tired of hearing about, we're tired of hearing we're going to do this. We're going to get back. We want to see it. And I don't think that's a wrong stance to have. And I think that's something even the players themselves, the players themselves, want to go out and show that it's not just talk. They're walking the walk.
Yeah. I mean, going along with the defense, we do a lot of people, and I think I speak for all of us here on this show, would not mind if Joe Woods was gone at this point. There are a lot of people that are fed up with what they're seeing. I mean, to have this happen 2 weeks in a row, I know Jack specifically, even last year, there were times where
2 years ago.
I've been talking about it.
about Joe Woods. What are your thoughts on the job he has done? And do you see a situation where he could be let go in any, like, let's say the Browns, and we're really hoping this doesn't happen, just look absolutely terrible Thursday and this really goes south for the defense. Is Joe Woods on the hot seat, or is that more just fans wanting him gone and not necessarily like Kevin Stefanski and the front office believing they need to make a change there?
I think it's fans right now, but let's talk in a couple of weeks after they face Trubisky and Mariota and see what they do. Stefanski's not a reactionary guy. I mean, if he's shown anything over 2+ years as the head coach here, he's not going to do knee-jerk things. He's going to be, I don't want to say by the book, but he's going to take his time. He's going to process everything. I think, but again, if they get the Trubisky and then Mariota light him up, maybe. I think the seat gets warm this season for Joe. I don't foresee a change necessarily in season. But again, that's assuming it doesn't all just derail. And one thing about, listening back a year ago at this time, coming out of that Chargers game, and granted that was Justin Herbert and the Chargers skill guys and not Joe Flacco at 105 and the Jets, but we were having a lot of these same conversations about communication in the secondary and coverage breakdowns and how are receivers running so free and all of that. And, it sort of came to a head in that Patriots game. And they got it together. They figured it out. They got it together. They played really well down the stretch as a defense. They went out to Cincinnati, with Joe Burrow and that receiving core and really basically locked them down, save after that first drive once Denzel had that pick six. So I wonder, and this is just a theory, the players insist it's not the case. I think it is. We go back to training camp. How many times did Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, how many times were they on the field together? I'm not saying in preseason, just in training camp, how much were they on the field together? Next to none.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the training camp portion of it, they were in next to none. They weren't together on the field for the Eagles joint practices, which when you would have, Denzel was there, but Greg was out. Greg didn't really come back into full till that week, that gap week between the Bears preseason game and the Panthers. So I think part of this is just, again, and this is just a theory of mine, I think it's a little bit of getting back on the same page after you really didn't work. They can talk about the works they've done in practices so far, but you're still going out in game speed against game receivers, and I think it's a lot different. And I think they're just trying to catch up. They're trying to make up for lost time that they're not going to get back. And so I'm willing to give them a benefit of the doubt because they're going to have to get it straight the next 2 weeks. Because then you go through that gauntlet where you're just seeing quarterbacks that are the quarterbacks that will legitimately embarrass you if you don't figure this out. Because, I don't care if Justin Herbert's walking around with 5 ribs broken or, I hate to be Debbie Downer on this, but I think there's talent in that. But the thing is, I think it's a talented secondary. I really do. That's why I'm willing to give them a chance to figure this out the next couple of weeks. And then, we'll see starting week 5, because I think week 5 is when we really find out about this football team, because that's when, you hit that maybe the toughest stretch in the league where you just go boom, boom, playoff contender right down the line until really the game you get Deshaun back.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that really like it's upsetting for us as fans too, and it's there's so many bright spots on this team that we weren't really expecting. You don't expect the defensive backs right now to be struggling. I expect them to come out and be one of the best defensive back groups in the NFL this year, top 5. But these linebackers with Walker and JOK are both grading over 90 on PFF. I didn't expect that to begin the year. And that's something that's being overshadowed because of a poor defensive back play with those are supposed to be the solid group on your defense. It's just so frustrating for me as a fan to see all this, like you said, Jacoby Brissett's coming out. He's doing what he needs to do to win games as your quarterback. He's basically in that 2020 Baker role. Let's throw the ball 27 times a game. Just do enough to win. Let's run it down their throat. And Stefanski said that he was mic'd up, and he said, it's great when you're going to run the ball and they know you're going to run the ball and they still can't stop you. So it's just frustrating as a team. We should seriously be 2-0 going into this and possibly talking about starting off the season 3-0 first in the AFC North.
That's why if they can figure it out, you touched on a reason why I think if they figure it out in the back end, and I think they will. I just think they're too talented. I think it has a chance to be a really good defense because you're getting good linebacker play. Let's see how long Jadeveon's out. But, I've really liked Alex Wright and what he's given, when he's gone on the field. the defensive tackles, all training camp we heard from guys, Jordan Elliott's sitting on a big year. Maybe he's not flashy, but him and Taven Bryan have given you good reps in that interior of that defensive line, which was a question. And Miles is Miles. Now, I do wonder, Miles looked a little gassed in the fourth quarter of Sunday's game. I wonder, again, game speed, getting game conditioning. I wonder, is he still trying to get his lungs, with him as he gets into the season? But the secondary is the one thing that it may end up being the thing that either allows this team to navigate through this and come out of it. Yeah, it's a little bit choppy right now, but we'll get it figured out. Or, man, I mean, the season could really get ugly just because, I mean, you're letting Joe Flacco and, all due respect, Baker Mayfield hit you for big plays with Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow has time. Josh Allen, even Tua. I mean, you saw Tua. It seems like Tua sort of found something with the Mike McDonald. So, I mean, the runway, you're running out of runway, is all I say. I need to see it starting tomorrow night, because this is your opportunity to show it against a good receiving core, against a good team. I think the Steelers are still a good team, and it's just time to. It would be a huge cathartic win for them if they can go out and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. And Chris, before we let you go, how do you think tomorrow night ends up going? Because we've talked about it outside of the show. We think it's going to go one of two ways. We really don't see an in between. We think that the Browns are going to come out like a team that's pissed off, and that they're going to show up tomorrow night and they're going to beat their rival at home in front of their home fans. Or we think this could go off the rails, and tomorrow night the defense might get shredded again, and the Browns can end up losing by 2 touchdowns. How do you see this going tomorrow night?
Well, with the news today that they expect Miles, Joel, and Jack to all play, I'm going to lean. They get one more from me. I'll give them a mulligan on Sunday. I'll give them one more. I think they win close. Mm-hmm. I just don't think this team blows anybody out. But then again, you don't really blow anybody out in this league. I mean, the NFL is not designed to be a blowout.
Unless you're the Bills.
If you're the Bills.
You're talking about the best team in football. But I think they win. I think, speaking of guys who I think make up for it, I think we see a big Cade York kick. I love that kid. I love his moxie. I love everything about him. I loved him coming out of LSU, and you could tell he was really hurt in the locker room. I was standing by his locker when he talked, and you could see he was really hurting. And I expect him to come out, and I expect him to hit a big kick, maybe not a game winner like in the last seconds, but I think it's a big kick from him at some point tomorrow night that proves the difference in the game.
Love it. Love hearing that, Chris. Thank you for joining us, guys. Be sure to give Chris a follow. You can follow him at Easterling ABJ on Twitter, and you can read all of his work at beaconjournal.com. Chris, thank you for joining us, and we hope to have you on again.
Absolutely. Anytime, fellas.
Yep. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks. Man, guys, I don't know about you, but I feel encouraged. I think we got out some of what we needed to get out, and we can move on.
Huh?
I mean, it's
move on. Hold on. We got to start. We got to talk about Joe Woods for at least another half hour.
All right.
My God.
Jack, the entire floor is yours.
Listen.
No,
man.
I'm not kidding. You have the entire floor.
Listen to me, man. I gotta ask a question. So, I mean, I was at the game, and when I'm at the game, I'm not paying attention to everything, right? Like I'm either usually paying attention to like a single player. Like if I see somebody in motion, I'm like, oh, maybe this guy's gonna get used. I wonder what's gonna happen on defense. And I sit there and I watch. You know how hard it is to watch the Jets go on offense and watch a guy run a route for 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, And then I look, and Joe Flacco's just standing there. No pressure. He's not moving. He's a statue. He stands there. How many times did Joe Flacco get blitzed yesterday or on Sunday? How many times? How many times was extra pressure brought off the edge?
There was
How
nothing.
many
We're playing a
times?
very basic, boring defense.
I do not understand Joe Woods' philosophy when he calls games. I don't. I get it. The guys in the secondary, I understand the communication issue. I understand that they and you brought up a good point about how they didn't practice that much, that like during training camp Denzel Ward was kind of off to the side a lot. He didn't do a lot of a lot of stuff in training camp. Then why aren't you bringing JOK off the edge? Why aren't you bringing John Johnson off the edge? Why aren't you just putting like 5 guys on the line and really overloading it and getting a bunch of guys in there? Because I mean, sure that these guys were getting open, but they were getting open because we were playing soft zone with 4 guys rushing. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. I couldn't figure it out.
Soft zone is what pisses me off the most. Like we should be a press man coverage defense with our cornerbacks.
Yeah, like it was insane. And then what's even weirder is that in the last 2 minutes, the entire time, it's like everyone knows that when they have no timeouts and you're playing to keep them away from the sidelines. But it seemed like they were giving them the sidelines. Like, please go out of bounds. Please stop the clock. Like they burned like 40 seconds to go all the way down the field and score a touchdown. Like it was insane to me. Like how they were consistently able to get out of bounds, consistently able to make big plays, and just the fact that the amount of times that Joe Flacco had to punt. How many times did the Jets punt?
It was
Twice?
not many.
Like,
not many.
They punted at the beginning of the game in their first drive, and then I think like their second drive in the third quarter. And then after that, it was just long drives that, I mean, it was like 3rd and 13 and they were converting. I'm like, guys, please, we have to do something different. I don't know if Joe Woods just doesn't know how to adjust correctly, if he just has a game plan and then he just sticks to it the whole way. I'm concerned because this is not the only time I've ever had to talk about this. Why do we have to wait until halfway through the season for Joe Woods to realize, hey, maybe I can blitz? Maybe like he was blitzing even in the first game against Baker because he knew that Baker, sometimes he gets happy feet. He walks up into the pocket too far. He walks back in the pocket too far and you can get sacks. Joe Flacco's not going to move. You just send too many guys and they can't block enough, and then he's not going to do anything crazy with it. I mean, we were able to get a strip sack with Jadeveon in one of them. It's just so strange to me. I just don't understand. It doesn't make any. I just don't understand why these things happen.
What a good coach does is they play to the strength of your players, regardless if you're a head coach, regardless if you're a coordinator. Your job is to play to the strengths of your players. Joe Woods has yet to show, except at the second half of last year, that he is willing to do that. Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome are not zone corners. They're press man-to-man corners. And this is nothing against the Jets at all, because it truly is. I told you guys, I loved what they did this offseason with the young players they brought in. The Jets have talent. But again, it's Joe Flacco back there. And you should be pressing, props to Garrett Wilson. I love Garrett Wilson, and it pains me that he destroyed the Browns on Sunday. But Garrett, you need to get up in these guys. Garrett Wilson's a rookie in the NFL. You need to have Denzel Ward pressing. You need to have Greg Newsome pressing them. There's no reason they should be playing as much zone as we are, especially when you have a case of your linebackers playing out of their minds right now. There's no reason for it. There's no reason to play that much zone.
Go if you don't believe Tyler right there, because he's right 100%. If you don't believe him, go watch Darius Slay against Justin Jefferson on Monday Night Football.
Goodness, it was beautiful.
Go watch Denzel Ward or Greg Newsome.
Beautiful in fantasy.
Go watch Greg Newsome or Denzel Ward last year against Jamar Chase, against T. Higgins, against these guys that are some of the best in our division at the wide receiver position. They're better than any of the guys that the Jets have. I don't think that's even debatable for me to say. You put those guys in man coverage, and Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome are elite. I don't see why we are making a defensive scheme where our best defensive players are not covering the best wide receivers. You're just telling them, oh yeah, well, hold on. If you get to this point, just let him pass you and hope that Grant Delpit, who has been off and on with injuries, hope that he, picks up the coverage and can beat these guys. It's just, it's confusing. I don't understand why they're doing this.
See, the thing that's really frustrating is I thought week one, I thought overall the game plan for week one was really good. I really did. Outside of that busted coverage, I was like, okay, this does happen. I've seen it happen for other teams. Okay, I get it. When it happens 2 weeks in a row, that's a problem. And I need somebody on this team. Like JOK shouldn't be a guy who's being accountable. He's a linebacker who didn't have anything to do with the play. I need Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, somebody in the secondary to just be like, okay, that was my bad, and let's move on. Grant Delpit, like, let's someone take the blame and show responsibility. Grant Delpit blew the coverage.
And I especially don't want to hear people say that this is Nick Chubb's fault. If you say it's Nick Chubb's fault, you don't know football. Shut up. That is a stupid take. Everyone who posts that take in general, I think, is wrong, and I think that they just don't know what they're talking about. Like, I understand the idea where if they're the people who like take one screenshot of a play in motion and then they say, well, obviously this guy was open, so you should have thrown it to him in this one frame that he was open. Mm-hmm. Like, they show Nick Chubb at the 1 yard line past the first down marker while he's walking into the end zone, and they're like, well, he should just walk out of bounds right. Somehow teleported out of bounds. Like, it just doesn't work that way. We went up by 2 scores. That's not an excuse for the defense giving up 14 points in 2 minutes. It just isn't.
No, and then that just abysmal onside kick recovery, which was just awful. Dude, like, I don't understand. So again, David Bell, Amari Cooper, dude, you guys are like on the hands team, and you're supposed to be able to catch everything. Like, what are you doing?
Like, Amari just didn't even go for it.
No, he didn't. And Amari Cooper had a great game, and I'm not gonna slay him other than that. But dude, like, what are we doing? And I think Super Surge MC brings a good point. We're not letting Mike Prefer off the hook. Yeah, I'm not either. That's another guy who I think he just needs to leave. I think Mike Prefer needs to go. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of the Demetric Felton experience. I'm done. Demetric Felton should have been cut after last week, and he needs to be cut now. I'm done. This guy isn't going to get the ball in offense. It's quite clear. You have him just in the slot. He's just there. He can't field a kick. If he does, he dances around, and every now and then he gets 10 or 15 yards. Other than that, he can't field a kick consistently. Just cut the guy. He really isn't doing anything.
I'm not blaming that on Prefer, though. I'm not blaming that on him. Like, no, I think that he was,
guy, you know?
Yeah, he was put in a really bad situation where Jakeem Grant is just gone, and they kind of just had to go like last resort, put Demetric Felton back in that position. I don't think they wanted to. I think that he probably wasn't even getting reps at that position until Jakeem Grant got hurt, and they just ended up using him because he had at least some experience, and they don't want to put someone like DPJ in that position again like they did a couple of years ago.
See, this is a good. I mean, this is true.
Dude,
that can't happen. It like, oh man, this is like Festivus, but it's in September. We're airing our grievances right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
honestly.
My goodness. But, I mean, like with Joe Woods, though, at this point, I will say I understand why why they didn't just can him after Sunday. Like, I can be reasonable and understand that because you're on a short week. And if anything, it really is going to put you behind the 8 ball if you fire your defensive coordinator on a short week. I get it. Mm-hmm. That I get. I will say another guy who I think is on the hot seat, and if they don't can Joe Woods, I think they're going to fire Jeff Howard, cornerbacks coach.
Yeah.
Someone, if they lose Thursday, someone's gone.
Yeah,
I really believe it because this can't happen anymore. And I'm telling you, before we get into our Steelers preview, if you're playing zone against Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and Chase Claypool, and Pat Freiermuth, because the Browns can't cover tight ends since 1999, then you're absolutely going to just get destroyed by Mitch Trubisky. You will, because these wide receivers, like Chris was telling us, Pittsburgh develops good wide receivers. They always have. It's always pissed us off, but, I mean, credit where it's due. They know how to develop their wide receivers.
Yeah, and if you want to give Mitch time to throw it to his guys, they're going to get open because it's soft zone. They're going to get open. They're going to find a spot. They're going to sit there, and they're going to be able – and like Chris was saying, even though I think that we can all say that Mitch is not like an incredibly good quarterback, he is at least an average quarterback. He can do the job that you need him to do as a quarterback in the NFL. That's why he's still in the NFL. That's why he's starting for a professional team, because he is at least good enough to be able to make basic passes. So if you give him the opportunity to make basic passes, he's going to make those passes. We need to be able to put him into situations where he needs to make difficult throws, which I think a lot of people know that he's not capable of doing consistently.
Mm-hmm. And before we go into our full Pittsburgh Steelers preview, Zach put a link in the chat there, and I just want to give you guys a reminder that we are proud, the Faithful Dogs podcast, and most importantly, Network 216 is proud to be a partner of Homage. And right now, guys, Zach put it in the chat. You can go get your brownie hoodie. I mean, it's absolute fire. We put it on.
It's fire, and the shirts are back too. The shirts are back.
Yep, the shirts are back in stock as well. Guys, be sure to go give us a follow at FD Podcast CLE. The link has been posted onto the Twitter page. Go get yours and go check out everything that Homage has Cleveland Browns wise. Oh man, the lineup is amazing. Not even just mentioning the Nick Chubb Blitz shirt, which I still need.
I wore that last week, so I was like worried because I'm like, okay, I wore it last week and we lost.
Hey man, I got 2 Homage Browns gear right now, so I wear the 2 I have.
Or I wore it last week and Nick Chubb went off, bro.
Yeah, Nick Chubb
had a hat trick,
which is the sad part.
Yeah, it's sad. It was a sad game, but I'm done talking about it. For now.
Yeah, I mean, overall though, Homage will cheer you guys up. They just have so much gear for everybody, and it's fantastic. We're, like I said, we're proud to be partners with Homage. What we will be doing too, they might be posting another 20% off or 15% off for Thursday Night Football, guys. So you might want to be on the lookout to our Twitter account or the network Twitter account, network_216 on Twitter, to possibly get 20% off on Homage gear. So you guys are going to want to make sure you do that. Great offers from Homage, and we're proud to be partners with Homage. Gentlemen, we're going to preview the Browns and Steelers here. And Pittsburgh Steelers come into town, just like the Browns. They are 1-1. Pittsburgh really, I would say, shocked a lot of people week 1 by beating Cincinnati. They then followed that up by losing to the Patriots, who I don't think they're that good, but it's the Patriots.
We lost to the Jets.
We did. Both teams just had some losses they just shouldn't have had.
The AFC North looked like crap.
But when you're looking at the Steelers, normally you think of that running game, and you think of Najee Harris. Harris through 2 games has 25 carries for 72 yards and 2.9 yards per carry. I mean, that's a shock to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but that one surprises me a little bit.
I know he's coming off some sort of injury, right?
Yeah, Lynn Frank.
Yeah, but I mean, man, that's still the fact that his numbers are that. I mean, because he was playing through injuries last year. But I think it is a good point, though. The Steelers also don't have an offensive line.
Yeah, their O-line is bad, and I think also just that they're not getting him as involved in the passing game. Like when Ben was there, they kind of got him out in screens sometimes. They got him out in the flat. They kind of used him more as like almost like another receiver. Because like they knew that at least there was some threat that Ben could throw it, because Ben's arm was shot, but he could still sometimes chuck it down the field. I feel like there's just a lot of teams that they've already seen through how they're going to utilize Mitch, and that is that he's not going to throw it very far. So if anything, you can just kind of bring a couple more guys to the line and just stuff the run, and that's why Najee just really has not been very productive at all. And
you know what's interesting about the part you mentioning that, Jack, is that's very similar to how Jacoby Brissett plays. He's not going to necessarily, and again, it's not a shot at him. It's just he's not really going to try and throw the ball deep. He's not really going to try and take a lot of chances. Trubisky kind of does the same thing. So that's what makes Deontay Johnson, I think he's the guy who's the most important player in this game as far as stopping on the Pittsburgh side of things. Deontay Johnson, to me, is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. I really think he is. I mean, he's getting paid like a number 1, which I think he finally deserves. But, I mean, Deontay Johnson just coming out of Toledo. He really came out of nowhere. I didn't know a whole lot about him. Then when he was drafted, and then he became Big Ben's favorite target. And Deontay Johnson is once again leading the way for Pittsburgh. He's got 13 receptions, 112 yards, no touchdowns so far this year. But, I mean, that is where they go, Jack. I mean, 8.6 yards a catch right now is what he's averaging, but that's kind of what he does. He's the guy that's going to be that short intermediate guy. And then you have Chase Claypool and George Pickens to stretch the defense deep.
And to be fair, he doesn't have any touchdowns, but I mean, how many touchdowns does the Pittsburgh offense really have? Like 2, maybe?
They have legit 2.
Yeah. They have 2, the defense has 1, and then they have a bunch of field goals. Like it's not for lack of Deontay's talent, it's just that they don't the Pittsburgh offense is very, very inconsistent. I don't want to say terrible, but it's very inconsistent this year, at least through the first 2 weeks.
The guy that I think is very underrated in this offense, and again, it's mainly because tight ends just absolutely destroy the Browns, it seems like, every single year. I think Pat Freiermuth is a guy they really have to try and take away in this game. Mm-hmm. He obviously burned the Browns last year for a touchdown. He already has one this year. He came out of Penn State. This is a guy they thought would be their next Heath Miller. He's off to a great start. And Mitch Trubisky likes his tight ends. I mean, you're not going to have Pat Freiermuth. He's going to be right in the middle. If you run zone Pat Freiermuth, I think will destroy you, personally. Pat Freiermuth's a very solid player in this offense. I think outside Deontay Johnson, that's who you have to watch in the passing game. I don't even think it's necessarily Claypool anymore. Mm-hmm. I think Pat Freiermuth's the guy they really need to try and at least slow down as much as they can.
Yeah, from like the few games that I have actually gotten a chance to look at for the Steelers, it looks like Freiermuth really is kind of like the guy that Mitch goes to a lot, especially on like those short yardage plays, like a lot of third downs. You'll see Pat Freiermuth really like kind of streaking, trying to find his way in the center of zone, and especially with all those wide receivers, he can be kind of one of those guys that you can lose because you're focusing a lot on taking away those wide receivers. And I know that we've always had trouble covering tight ends, so we definitely need to be looking at Pat Freiermuth as a potential like big game target for Mitch this game.
17 targets in 2 games.
That's
for
really
Pat
good.
Freiermuth.
That's really good.
I wish Kyle Pitts could get those types of targets.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, that's Pittsburgh's offense, though. I mean, they don't have Ben Roethlisberger anymore, so you don't have that hanging over your head. And regardless if the Browns might have had the better team on paper the last couple years here, Big Ben had the Browns number, and now you don't have to deal with him anymore. Even though he was at the end of his career, he always found ways to win. And but now you have Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, only completing 59% of his passes so far, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, I think it begins and ends with this Browns pass rush. You're gonna be without Jadeveon Clowney. There's a worry that might be a couple weeks that you're going to be without Clowney, and that's obviously not good. But how do you guys feel about Alex Wright? Because more than likely he's going to be stepping into the starting lineup, especially with Chase Winovich also being placed on IR.
No, go ahead.
I think he's going to be willing to step into that role. I mean, he kind of has to too. Like, are we even going to see Isaiah Thomas, anything like that? We will. Okay.
I mean, he played a decent amount of snaps on Sunday. I mean, he had to. So I mean, I really do think they like Isaiah Thomas. I do. I mean, because
he had a good preseason. I won't lie, he had a good preseason.
So I mean, I think we're gonna see. Here's the other issue we have with all this. Right now, you have Myles Garrett, who clearly is still like Chris said, is trying to work his way back into shape or whatnot, because he not on the field for every snap. Which when he is not, oh boy, this D line, and then you don't have Clowney on the field. I mean, so without Garrett, you basically have Alex Wright, Isaac Rochelle, and Isaiah Thomas. Those are your defensive ends. Yeah. So, I mean, I have confidence in Alex Wright. I do, but he's also incredibly raw. And the fact that he has to start opposite Miles, I will say when he's starting opposite Miles, I think the Steelers are going to double Miles a lot. I really do. And that's going to give Alex Wright one-on-one opportunities. If he can win those battles, it's going to be huge for the Browns. But again, it worries you though when Miles comes off the field. because this is an insult, but does Isaac Rochelle and Isaiah Thomas really scare anybody? Does even Alex Wright really scare anybody? I mean, outside of Myles Garrett, this defensive line scares nobody right now.
Well, I mean, even with Myles on the line, they weren't getting really any pressure against the Jets. So,
which is a problem because we know how bad the Jets line is.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to be one of those games where if they can get pressure early on Mitch and force him to make some mistakes, I think that it can set the tone for the rest of the game. And if not, then I could see it very much being like the Jets game where just drives go on for way too long. The defense is out there for way too long. And it's just a grind them out game. And I really hope it's not that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think for me, Jack, that is something that does worry me. And I think Chris kind of hit on a worry for me too. You had one of Jacoby Brissett's best games. I mean, truly, Jacoby Brissett, and quit talking about the interception because there are people that are really annoying me with that. Like, the dude's trying to make a play just to get you in field goal range after the defense blew it. So, but Jacoby Brissett was efficient. He had a great game. I don't know how often you're going to have Jacoby Brissett just putting up those types of games, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
It really is, because then the Steelers defense, even without TJ Watt, it's a good defense. They perform well. And that's a problem. So, I mean, I have to admit, I'm a little nervous for tomorrow night. I will say the thing that the Steelers have, that the Browns have that the Steelers don't have, that's Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And, who have just so far this year just been extraordinary so far. I don't think there's really any other way to put it.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. Nick Chubb only needs 80 yards tomorrow to pass Kevin Mack.
Jeez.
To be the 5th leading rusher in team history. He already is the highest grade running back this season according to Pro Football Focus, 86.7. And believe it or not, guys, the Browns have scored on 52.4% of their possessions so far this season. That ties the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yeah,
so
it's elite. I think we all knew that Nick Chubb is one of the best rushers in the league, if not the best rusher in the league, but Sunday kind of proved it to. The thing is that the Jets actually have one of the better rushing defenses. Like, even though obviously they've been it doesn't look like it because on the stat line you see 3 touchdowns and you're like, oh well, their rush defense might not be that good. They actually have a very, very efficient run defense, and for the fact that Nick Chubb was able to find holes, and the fact that Kareem Hunt was able to find holes and get 3 touchdowns for Nick Chubb is insane.
Yeah, man. Nick Chubb is just truly one of the best running backs the Browns have ever had. But before we make our game predictions this week, let's each go around. What are some of your guys' keys to the Thursday night game for the Browns and them coming out with a victory against the Steelers?
You need to get to Mitch. I think that number one is that you need to put pressure on him. You need to make sure that that they can't get into their game flow where they're controlling how long they have the ball. You're letting Mitch sit back there and pad the football because they have 3 great wide receivers and a good tight end that can all get open at any time. So you can't give him a lot of time. You got to make sure that you're getting back there and pressuring him, make him make a mistake. I think that's probably like the first thing that is really important, is just making sure that you have some pressure on there. Make him make a mistake.
I would add on to that real quick, Jack. I would even say, too, you really got to contain Mitch Trubisky and keep him in the pocket. One thing about Mitch Trubisky that a lot of people really forget about, he can be mobile. Mitch Trubisky proved it in Chicago. He will run the ball if it's open. And he's not super slow either. Like, he's a pretty athletic quarterback. So I think it's important in this game. You mentioned you got to pressure him, but keep him in the pocket, man. Do not let Mitch run, because I'm telling you, I think that we've seen in the past. Again, he's not Lamar Jackson, but the Browns have also struggled with quarterbacks that are mobile. So just something to keep in mind as well on your point.
And I'm not worried about our players' ability to get to Mr. Trubisky, pressure him, make him see ghosts in a sense. I'm worried about the defensive coordinator scheming that up, because after week 2, dude, how do you not pressure Joe Flacco? Like, if you want to talk about a quarterback where Miles should have broke the record, and then Miles should have had 3 or 4 sacks. That's the game where you go, oh my God, dude, how is Joe Flacco going to escape Myles Garrett? Like, it doesn't help when you have no schemed blitzes to help Myles Garrett get to Joe Flacco. Like, I think our keys to victory on the offensive side, though, is simple. It's what it should be every week for now, is just run the ball. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, you can see it. It's literally 2020 Baker. If he throws the ball 27 times, maybe 30 tops, you have a very good chance of winning the game. That's a very good sign that you're in the driver's seat to win the game. And we should have won last week. So I think running the ball, keeping the defense just tired. I think we've done it before to the Steelers. And I think we're going to do it again.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's got to begin and end with Nick Chubb. I've said it week 1, and pretty much I mean it every single time I say it. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt need to touch the ball 40 times. They need to touch the ball 40 times for the Browns to win. I always believe that's how it should be, and there's really no reason why it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think also really what you have to do is you just have to win the battle at the line of scrimmage. One thing we know about Pittsburgh is they're a very physical team. The Browns are physical too. That offensive line is, the defensive line is, but you have to win that battle because Pittsburgh is a hard-nosed football team. I really believe, regardless of Najee Harris' status, they're going to try and establish the run game. They are, and you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for it. And I just think you have to control the line of scrimmage this game. And someone besides Myles Garrett is going to have to step up and make a play. Yeah. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah has been fantastic this year. I think he's a guy that's going to play really well. But besides those two, somebody has to show up. And I'm calling you out, Denzel Ward. You're supposed to be one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the league. And so far, you've been one of the worst this year. 33.5 overall grade on Pro Football Focus last week. Oh, but at least that touchdown wasn't your fault, though. So you need to step up and perform like a number 1 corner. I can't. This is getting ridiculous. I get like Joe Wood. It is on Joe Woods. He's got to play to his players' strengths. But Denzel Ward is supposed to be one of the top corners in the league. And so far, he has gotten embarrassed by any single wide receiver that's lined up against him again this year. Man, that felt good.
He was only targeted once.
Yeah, man. Only targeted once.
Well, then how did Pro Football Focus rate him at a 33.5 on like 60 snaps?
You don't know what you don't know, Tyler.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
What I do know is that he's one of the highest paid corners in the league, and that he's down at the bottom. So I think I love it. I think we should try to fix that.
I love when you pay players. That's what happens. But,
Yep. Oh, it's always a lot of
frustrating.
Now, guys.
But here's the thing. I'll just end it with this. I do think he's gonna start getting it back in his groove. I think that players only meeting was, I think it was, if I had to guess, I think it was for Delpit and Ward to kind of hash things out. If you want my guess.
Okay. Hey man, I hope you're right for the sake of my sanity. I really do. Oh man. But guys, it's time for our weekly pick'ems presented by Underdog Fantasy. So last week, how did everybody do last week?
Well, I know I got at least one right. I knew I got the Kansas City Chiefs one right. I knew they were going to beat the Los Angeles Chargers. You guys are so confident in Justin Herbert, but unfortunately,
I will say I did not pick that game.
I know you didn't pick that game. I know Zach did though. Zach picked against me.
Yeah. That was a fun game, at least, right?
It was a fun game.
Where's everybody's record as we go into this week? Have you guys kept track so far?
Jack,
I don't remember, but I know that
Jack,
I was 3-1
you gotta
last
write this
week.
down.
I know that I was 3-1 last week, and I got one right. So let's just say cut it even. I'm 4-1. We'll just say I'm 4-1.
Tyler, did you write down Jack's at least?
No, I can go back and look at it.
I didn't write down.
I can go back and look.
I can say, Zach, you did say.
It looks like
that. Yeah, you're 3-5 right now. I'm 5-2-1. The only loss I had was the Browns game last week.
Nice. You probably picked easy ones. I
just want
to clarify. So I picked the Browns last week. I lost. I picked the Bills over Tennessee. I won. I picked the Chargers over the Chiefs. I lost. And I don't know what I was on last Wednesday. I don't know how you guys let me do this and embarrass myself. I picked the Bears to go into Lambeau and beat the Packers.
Yeah,
Wanted to pick them.
that was an
Hey, I
interesting
will
one.
say, since you did call me out for taking easy matchups, I picked the Browns. I picked the Lions. I picked the Giants.
Okay.
Dolphins.
Okay, actually, yeah, you picked some good. Wow.
You picked a lot of good ones.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just so once you said I picked these, nah, I did not pick easy matchups, man. That was difficult, actually. That was a rough.
Damn.
That was a rough week. So,
Wow.
but
Okay, I
okay.
gotta
So
make up for it. I gotta make up for it.
okay. So looking at the scoreboard. Okay, first off, well, we'll save the Browns and Steelers for last. Let's do that for last. Let's make that fun. Okay. I don't understand. Normally, I'm gonna see if I can zoom out a little bit on this because normally the screen is a lot shows up a lot better. It's for some reason only showing a couple games.
Hit control
Okay.
minus.
Okay. What is it on MacBook?
Oh
Same thing?
God. I don't know. MacBook. Come on, man.
Dude, hey man, that's all I have. I'm only used to that stuff. I'll edit it. I should be able to do it. Okay, I figured it out.
What is it on MacBook?
Can you guys even see this though? Or is that
Yeah.
too small?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
see it.
Okay. So whoever wants to go first, I think I know where I'm going with this. But if anyone else wants to go first, feel free.
I'll let
I'm
Jack
gonna
go.
say Eagles over Commanders.
Okay.
Jalen
Make sure
Hurts
you're
is looking
now,
really
Jack.
good.
Make sure you're keeping track of
Yeah.
the pick here.
I want to know Jack's record before we do this.
I'll look it up.
I kind of
after
do too
this.
because right now
I'll look it up
without
after
his
this.
week
I'll look it up.
without
I'll look
his
it up
week
after
two
this.
without his week 2, he's 3-1.
Uh,
But week 2 hasn't been added in yet.
All right, let's scroll a little bit. Here. What are the 4 o'clock games?
Okay, 4. Those are your 4 o'clock games,
Okay, nice.
along with
Awesome.
Monday Night Football right there.
All right, I'm gonna go Chargers over Jaguars.
Okay, all right.
I have to
that's
win
fair.
this week. I have to win. This week.
No. I get it. No, seriously, I for real get it. It makes sense. Okay. I think, man, who am I rolling with? I'm rolling. You know what? I'm going back to back here. I'm trusting the Lions to get me another victory. I'm going with the Lions over the Vikings.
Dude, they look solid this year, bro. I like the Lions. I like Dan Campbell.
They don't even have Jameson Williams back either. Just saying.
They don't need Jameson Williams. They got the Sun God.
Amon-Ra. Excuse me. I have Jameson Williams in Dynasty, and I need him to come back.
Amon-Ra, man. That's my guy.
Hey, who was it? Who was it said he'd be Jacob said he'd be a top 5 receiver.
Dude, he's so good. It's insane.
Well, we'll see how he finishes.
Last year I remember I picked him up. He saved my team. He took me to the playoffs, and I was able to get him.
He helped me out a lot too.
He's so good, man.
Too.
But I'm gonna take Titans over the Raiders. I think that they're gonna tighten up a little bit. I think that they really need to get Derrick Henry involved a little bit more. And after that last performance, I think that they're a little embarrassed.
Jeff, I can confirm that I absolutely despise that state. But Jeff has the Jags over the Chargers.
I mean,
hey man, it's the NFL. I can't say that won't happen. I think it's unlikely, but okay. So my apologies. Who'd you pick, Jack?
Titans over the Raiders.
Okay, Titans over the Raiders. Okay. Ooh, man, it's hard to believe they're both 0-2.
I got
okay.
Chiefs over the Colts. I'm not feeling.
Zach clearly is not messing around with this.
I'm not feeling the Dick Cojones this week.
Oh man! All right, I'll take another challenge here. Let's see, who do we got? I'm trying to remember because I do like the pick 'em games on here too. I don't remember who I picked for all these games though. Let's see. All right. I'm gonna go with the Texans over the Bears.
I think that's a
You're
pretty
not
good
you're
matchup.
not
right
you're not
there.
liking that Justin Fields offense, are you, dude?
Dude,
I'm not liking it. The Bears are serious. It truly makes me sad. They're ruining Justin Fields. Like I don't know what they're doing. Mooney is their only receiver. They can't get him the ball, so that's a problem. Cole Kmet was supposed to be good. They can't get him the ball. David Montgomery's basically all they have. They can't throw to anybody. It's just bad in Chicago. I don't know how they won a game. Well, they won a game because it was a slop fest, basically. If they have a really bad year, they'll move on from Justin Fields. So
all right. So can you scroll down for me, Tyler?
yeah, what
Right.
do you want the 4:00 games too, or do you want to stay here?
No, we can go to the 4:00 games too.
Okay.
You know what, man? You know what? Give me the Carolina Panthers over the Saints. Give me the Carolina Panthers over the Saints. Just
You
do
think
it.
Baker? You think Mr. Baker Boy gets a victory?
Look, man, this is just me like kind of putting the chips on the table, not even looking where I'm putting them, and just saying, roll it, man, just roll it.
Hey, man. All right. Hey, if that's how it's all you, man. I wouldn't want to bet on Baker Mayfield, but that's all you.
I'm not betting on Baker. I'm betting on the Panthers.
Oh,
Not
Matt
Baker.
Rule, even better. Betting
All
on
right,
Matt Rule.
all right. I'll do one this week. I was gonna pick the Bills again, but I'm gonna switch it up this week.
Dude.
I think the Bills are a lock every week. They're gonna go 17-0. But all right, I'm gonna go Falcons over the Seahawks.
I thought about that matchup too, to believe it or not. Oh man, that one's tough. I think it's in Seattle. That's what makes it tough for me to pick.
Seattle looked like shit last week, so I don't care.
Can we just
kind of impressed me.
Also, Arthur Smith, free Kyle Pitts, please. You talk about you want to win game, like you say, well,
No,
we're just trying
pass
to win
to Drake
games.
London. Just keep feeding Drake London. I'm all good with it.
There's room to feed both because some dude named Zach Kedius or whatever is their second leading receiver. I don't even know who the dude is. Free Kyle Pitts, please. Okay.
What is it, dude? What is it about them not wanting to get him the ball?
I truly have no idea. Like, I wish I could explain that for you. You drafted him 4th overall, and the dude is runs a 4.4 as a tight end. Like, and you just don't get him the ball. I can't do it. I don't know, dude. Arthur Smith is a terrible coach. Anyways, okay. You know what? I'm gonna take you can. I think this will be a match. This is gonna be a shock to everybody. Okay, I'm taking the Dolphins over the Bills in Miami.
Oh man.
That might blow up right in my face.
I think the
Dolphins. You know what?
I think the Dolphins hype's gonna die down this week. Come back to reality against a good team. You know,
we'll see.
Unless Mike McDaniels.
Time out though. Is Baltimore not a good team?
I mean, yeah, and that win was very, very impressive. But I'm just saying the Bills are the best team in the league, in my opinion, dude.
Well,
I also
everyone has a bad game, and anyone can lose on any given day.
Listen,
true, but I also think you have to look at how the Dolphins won, and you have to ask, can they do that every game?
So
you're right,
Tyler.
It's fair to ask, but I'm telling you, man.
You look at that Bills defense, and you think Tua's going to throw 6 touchdowns on that Bills defense if he has to.
He'll throw 6 touchdowns, but I think he.
Well, you might have to because Josh Allen could put up 41 points on you every single week.
The Dolphins also have a pretty solid defense. A lot of talent on that defense. Xavier Howard, man's a really good corner. I'm telling you.
Well, a lot of talent on that defense that gave up how many points to the Ravens.
They did.
They did. Lamar Jackson's going for MVP again, bro. He's trying to send a message to the Ravens.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, it's a shocker. I don't expect that one to even be close. Like, I don't expect Miami to actually win that. But you know what? I'm going to bank on it, and I'm going to go with an upset. So, I don't know. I like what the Dolphins are doing.
I just think that Jalen Waddle. I'm just saying, Jalen
It's
Waddle,
Top Waddle,
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, dude, that's insane, bro.
And I think Tua, like, even this season's going to prove a lot of people wrong. I said at the beginning of the year, I still believe it. Same with Jalen Hurts, as much as fun of a conversation as that was last year. I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. Really
Yeah,
am.
he's proved me wrong. He's made me eat my words. Dude, I used to go hard on you about Jalen Hurts, dude.
Hey, and no, listen though, I get it. Like, I get it because he didn't look great, but I'm telling you,
But it's
you had
crazy.
AJ Brown. You had AJ
Yes,
Brown to
that's
that
what I'm saying.
offense. Oh, dude,
It
They
makes
look
you
good.
wonder. It makes you wonder because they're not. I don't think Jalen Hurts even wants to target Smith anymore. He doesn't, dude.
Well, he did lead the team. He led the team in targets last week.
Oh,
and
did he
yards.
last week?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't even know. I didn't, dude. I did not think that. I did not think that. Damn.
It's all good, dude. It's all good. Guys, remember that our weekly pick'ems are presented by Underdog Fantasy, and we are proud to be partners with Underdog Fantasy. You guys can, all you have to do is go to the app Underdog Fantasy and enter code 216. You'll be able to deposit $100, and they will double that for you. So, like the other day, I deposited $10, got $20 in return. So you guys want to make sure you do that, but you have to use code 216 when you sign up with Underdog Fantasy. Yeah, man. I mean, I like what the Eagles are doing. The Eagles are fun to watch. They're a lot of fun to watch. So
They stressed
We'll
me
see.
out last week. I think that's why I didn't know about Devonta Smith having such a game. Was my eyes were glued on Josh Allen because he's my fantasy quarterback, and I was facing my brother in my money league, and he has Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts. Dude, that was an insane matchup.
Also,
Oh,
I
yeah.
looked it up. I'm 5-3.
okay, let me.
Liar.
I am, man.
All right, 5-3.
Listen,
All
I said
right.
since he was
Don't
going to beat
call it a
Dallas,
comeback this week.
that didn't happen. I said Kansas City was going to beat the Chargers. That happened. I said the Rams were going to beat Atlanta. Barely.
All right, Jack. You and I are tied currently.
Yeah, man.
After
All
not after
right.
this week.
Yeah, probably not. I'm gonna end up losing all mine anyway.
Because
No, real quick though, going back to Jalen Hurts, just to talk fantasy for a second. It was Monday night. I had two guys. I had Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts. He had Derrick Henry, and I was down 40 points. I won.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was insane in that game.
Yeah, he
He's a
was.
good
He
player,
scared me.
man.
He had like 10 points on the first drive. I was like, damn it.
He's a fantasy
how this-
gold mine. He really is. Like,
Yeah.
he might never be the guy that's obviously going to lead the league in passing and whatnot, be the best quarterback, but fantasy wise, they'll put up numbers just because of the type of player he is and the style they
Yeah.
run. So, but before we wrap things up, you guys have anything you want to add about?
We got to
anything?
pick our game.
Yeah.
We got to pick the Browns game.
Are the Browns going to win
Dude,
or not?
I forgot I said that we were doing it at the very end. Wow. Okay. Well, whoever wants to go first.
Browns win.
What's the score?
It's going to be 20. It's going to be 24-14.
Ooh, wow, you covering
Wow.
the spread that much. Okay.
Listen, dude, I always think that the team is going to score less than they actually are, because it seems like every single time I say, oh yeah, they're going to score like somewhere in like the mid-teens, it's like, nah, Joe Flacco scores 31. Right, okay.
Tyler?
I want.
Don't do it, Tyler.
I'll do
Don't
it.
do it.
I don't even 100% believe that they'll win, but I mean, I think the Browns will find a way to pull it off. I think they're going to end up scoring about 27 points. I think 27-17.
Okay. See, I'm
not fully confident in saying that is my thing.
Yeah, that's the thing about me this week, dude. I'm very after Sunday, I'm just very nervous. I don't know what to expect Thursday, tomorrow. God. Listen, I was on the verge of picking the Steelers for this game, but I just can't. They're the freaking Steelers, dude. I cannot do it in my heart.
I nearly did it, but I knew you
Dude.
both of you would destroy me. And two, I can't make myself say
I just
that.
can't. I can't pick that freaking team, dude. So I'm going Browns 26, Steelers 21.
Wow, decent amount of field goals too.
A lot of field goals.
Hey, I hope
Chris-
so.
Chris talked me
York
into it
wasn't giving me
earlier,
those
dude.
fantasy
Chris
points.
talked me into it, dude.
Oh man. All right. Well, those are our weekly pick'ems presented by Underdog Fantasy. Gentlemen, anything else we want to say before we wrap it up?
Just win, Browns. Just do it. Go 2-1. Go into Atlanta with some momentum,
Please figure it out.
dude. Please.
Just figure it out. Just
Win for the sake of my health.
defense. Just please. Like, I don't know if you need like Russell Wilson on the sidelines telling you if it's run or pass. I don't know what you need.
Oh my
But
God!
figure it out,
Stop with that claim.
please.
Dude, that's like
come
that's
on.
first,
Come on, they gotta know.
dude. That's first grade nonsense. Oh my goodness.
My high school
I
team
forgot
didn't even
about
do that. My high school team didn't even do that, dude.
Oh, dude. Okay, now I'm dying. Anyways, before we let you guys go, be sure you can subscribe to the channel for free with Amazon Prime. There is a crown on your screen. If you click that, it'll automatically resubscribe you for free with Amazon Prime. We appreciate everyone that supports the channel. Again,
Dog
all
chuck.
your support. Well, yeah, I was gonna end with that. But
Oh.
Zach makes a really good point. At 10 o'clock tonight, we have the Dog Chug. They are going to be live talking Browns and just having a lot of fun. So be sure to tune into the Dog Chug. That's at 10 o'clock. It will be live on the Twitch channel. But be sure to subscribe to the channel because it not only just helps the Faithful Dogs podcast, helps all the shows at Network 216. That way we can work on providing you with Ohio sports content daily. And also, again, a lot of opportunities for giveaways for you guys in the future as well. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, which is free with Amazon Prime. Be sure to give us a follow at the podcast page. That is at FD Podcast CLE. Really appreciate all of your support. I am Tyler Johnson with Zach DeFranco and Jack Robinson. This has been the Faithful Dogs Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in, and go Browns.
Fire Joe
Go
Woods, go
Browns.
Gardos.